truing up your pattern is a really important step to do if you've just made a pattern and it's your first time assembling it, or for example in this one where I have enlarged my pattern. I want to make sure that all of the pieces will actually fit together. So what I'm doing is I'm working with the pattern pieces, and I don't have any seam allowances on these because I want to actually measure them for fit where they will actually connect. So even if your pattern pieces include seam allowances, don't use the seam allowance line. Use the actual line where the two shapes will connect together. So I have the base of my shoe and I have the little strip that's going to go around it. This is only half of the piece. I'll repeat it on the other half once I'm done. But what I'm doing is I'm using this paper that I can see through. I take a pencil or a needle tool or something that's pointy and I add a little pressure, and then I pivot the paper at that point until I can start to see the lines diverge away from one another. I'll put my pencil tip there and then just keep rotating the paper, essentially walking the lines along one another and just rotating slow and steady. Some of the rotations are really long and some of them are much shorter. It just depends on the curve of the two pieces. So you'll repeat this all along the length of the pattern pieces until you reach the end. So in this particular instance, I'm just going to make a little mark here. I'm going to write end, or just some kind of an indication so that you don't start getting confused about all the markings you've made. So I'll go ahead and I'll repeat the same thing on the second half of this shoe because, as I said, this is pattern piece that I'm tracing on the top will be folded in half or doubled up. And so then this will complete that edging. So once I get to the end, then I'm going to draw a mark there. What I can observe here is that I actually have quite a bit of an overlap between the two. This either means that the base of my shoe is too short, or that that piece that I've cut to go around it is too long. So I can modify this by either lengthening the base of the shoe, shortening the length of that outside seam, or I could choose to do something in between where I lengthen the base of the shoe a little bit and shorten that little strip that goes around. So kind of going in between those two dimensions, kind of dividing the difference. So I added a little at the back of the shoe, and you can see that it was that small amount, barely made a difference. And those are just important things to do. A lot of this is through trial and error, where you say, okay, clearly that curvature did not have much effect, and so I'm going to redraw this and go slightly bigger. You'll need to do this for all of the pattern pieces, especially if you've started making adjustments with them. But the more that you practice this, the better that you get and the smarter you become at where to make your adjustments.